And we're up. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Ozaki, and this is the first of our election season meditations. We are 1 week out from the presidential election here in the United States. And with it, I'm sure are coming all kinds of feelings and anxieties and fears, all kinds of impulses of who we should yell at and where we should blame it and what we should do. And so we thought that each evening, this week leading up and the week after, at 9 o'clock, we invite you to come and join us to pause, to find our center, to pray, and to be reminded that we are here to serve a kingdom and a king, not an empire or a president. That our hope is not in who gets elected, but the God who has been moving us all in what has been called the great arc of history and justice for a very long time, no matter what happens. One of the stories that is kind of guiding my way that I think about this whole season and politics in general is when Jesus is tempted. In the book of Luke, in chapter 4, it talks about how Jesus, at the very beginning of his ministry, he's baptized, and then it says he is driven out into the wilderness for 40 days, and he was tempted by the devil. He ate nothing at all during these days, and when they were over, he was famished. So he was at his weakest point. And the devil said to him, "You are the Son of God. Command the stone to become a loaf of bread." And Jesus answered him, "It is written, one does not live on bread alone." Then the devil led him up and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. And the devil said to him, "To you I will give the glory and all this authority, for it has been given over to me, and I give it to anyone I please. If you then will worship me, I will be yours." And Jesus answered him, "It is written, worship the Lord our God and serve him only." Then the devil took him to Jerusalem and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to protect you. And on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against the stone." And Jesus answered him, "It is said, do not put the Lord your God to the test." When the devil had finished every test, he departed from him until the opportune time. Then Jesus was filled with the power of the Spirit, returned to Galilee, and a report about him spread through all the surrounding country. I think one of the reasons that the Gospel of Luke starts Jesus' ministry in this way is because there's always this tension, right? This tension between kingdom and empire, this tension between the hope that Caesar and militaries and markets give, and this hope that is above all those things. And so the first thing Jesus does is he goes into the wilderness. He's put in a very weak, scary place. And I think what he's done is he's tempted with the three main temptations of power, right? First, there is to be able to turn stones into bread, which at that time, it's basically economic power. If you can decide who gets bread, you decide where the economies of the world and the market, what happens in the markets. And Jesus rejects it. The second is political or military power. He brings him up, shows him all the empires of the world and says, "Bow to me and I'll make all of these yours." And Jesus rejects it. This isn't going to be about military. This isn't going to be that kind of thing. And the third one, he takes him to the temple and says, "Jump off," right? And if everyone sees him being catched by angels as he's falling, that's religious power. It's ideological power. The power to control how people think or what they think or should think. And Jesus rejects this as well. Because those are the weapons that are wielded, used by empire and by Caesar. Oftentimes, I still think we get confused. And we still believe that the kingdom comes when our side wins enough, when we gain enough power in a certain area to make it happen. Sometimes I think that even now, some of our faith isn't actually in God. It's in power itself. It just happens to be that God has that power. And so we come to the election and we become very anxious. Will our side get enough power for God's will to be done? In this time, I invite you to resist that temptation, to acknowledge it in yourself, and like Jesus in the desert, to reject it to its face. When the thoughts come in, when the feelings rise up, when the knee-jerk reactions try to pull us along, to reject them. And really ask ourselves, is this the way of Jesus? Is this the way Jesus would have done things? Is this the way of the cross? Does this help me love my neighbor more? Does this fill me with more desire to care and give and sacrifice of myself for even my enemy? And so tonight, as we are 1 week out to end our first meditation, I offer you this prayer. May you enter this season allowing all these feelings and fears and thoughts and the jumble of it all to awaken us an awareness. And the question, is this the path that Jesus is giving us? Is this the way of the kingdom? Or am I still trying to gain empire? Grace and peace. We'll see you tomorrow night.